We
Okay,
are live.
got it. Okay, got it.
Whoa, welcome
Awesome.
to Tranquil Tuesdays and welcome to Dr. Tanya Rampersad, who is going to talk to us today about meditation. Now, Tanya, do you want to introduce yourself? We are going to be live on inside my Facebook group. But technology had a few other things in mind. So we are on my page right now, and I'm just going to take a minute to make sure that everybody that's expecting this can
Got
find
it.
it.
Okay, got it.
All right, so I'm just going to
Awesome.
mute, and you can just introduce yourself.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for having me and thanks for being here. I'm Dr. Tanya Rampersad. I am a naturopathic doctor. I focus on trauma that's embedded or stored in the tissue so that people can release that and heal more fully. And I have had a meditation practice for as long as I've had a naturopathic practice. So that's been about 19 years. And it's a study that's and a practice that keeps evolving and keeps changing. I've been with the Buddhist tradition for most of that and had a variety of teachers and a whole bunch of different practices. So I thought I would start with a little story because I had an event yesterday and I thought it might be interesting because even when you've been meditating, things don't always go right or well, or you're not always happy. It's not, you're not going to be happy all the time just because you can figure out how to meditate. So yesterday I got ripped off. And I ended up paying for something that I didn't want to pay for. And this is very triggering for me because I was conned several years ago and I lost all my life savings and I ended up paying a whole bunch of debt on top of that. And so when I feel ripped off, I get really angry and focused and I can't let it go. So it's my job. It's my duty to fix my state. Nobody else is going to fix it for me, right? And I know this. So throughout the day, I'm like, okay, just relax. You're angry. Just be angry. So that was working. It was working. I was like, man, I'm like, don't cause a fight with your husband because I was blaming everyone. I was like blaming my husband. I was blaming myself. I was blaming the shop. I just couldn't let it go. It kept coming up. You know how this goes, right? Everyone knows how this is. Something is on your mind. So I was able to keep letting it go throughout the day. But at night, and this never happens to me, like I hit the bed and I barely get the opportunity to do a gratitude practice, a day review, and to focus a little bit on my breathing, and I'm out. So I'm trying to be grateful, but how do you be grateful? How do you generate this feeling of appreciation when you're totally angry? I was so mad. I'm imagining going to the shop and throwing stones through the window. I'm like, I was so mad. And so I'm like, okay, this is, obviously not a very wholesome state. So I'm like, okay, my teacher said, the purpose of meditation is to develop penetrating wisdom. So let's penetrate this. So I go into my body. I'm like, okay, let's learn something from this. And all I'm feeling is like my heart's like constricted and angry. And I'm like, okay, so this isn't, so I keep trying. It's not working. Not working. So I'm like, okay, let's try something else. So I'm trying the relaxing. I'm just going to relax into being mad and it's going to pass through. No, I'm getting more angry and I'm still not sleeping. And it's like, and this is never like, it's like half an hour, 45 minutes, still not sleeping. So I'm like, okay, I have to keep trying, right? So my mind starts to wander and I'm thinking back to all, who knows what's popping through my mind. I don't even remember, but I remembered this practice that I had done years and years ago. It was another teacher had told me to do millions of the Chinrezi mantra. Chinrezi is a deity. He's like a beautiful being from the heavenly realms. He's very well revered in Tibet. Everyone in Tibet knows the Chinrezi mantra, which is Om Mani Padme Hum. And he's very friendly and light and beautiful. So he's white So I'm like, just, oh yeah, I remember I used to do that practice, and I'm thinking about him, he's white, and I'm visualizing him. And so without realizing it, all of a sudden I'm kind of doing the practice. And I'm like, oh yeah, he's holding like this crystal mantra in one hand, and he's holding this blue lotus, it's blossoming by his ear in the other hand. And he's white, yeah, and he's got this ribbon of white light that's doing a clockwise rotation around his heart. And I'm like, oh yeah, oh, many payme hong. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of having fun now, right? And then I'm like, but I'm missing something. Like I'm missing something. What's going? And I can't visualize his whole core. I'm like, okay, he's got one hand, he's got two hands. Like, how many hands does he have? I'm like, oh my gosh, he has four hands. What are his other hands doing? And then I was like, come on, think, remember. And I've done millions of this mantra. There's no way I should forget what Chenrezi's other hands are doing. So I remember finally, Chenrezi is holding a wish fulfilling gem at his heart. And as soon as I remembered that, it was like he was there in the room. It was like Chenrezi was there with me in the room. It's like, I was like, how people say they can, angels guide them. I was like, oh my gosh, I've done so many mantras that Chenrezi is here to help me. And I realized I had a wish coming. That wish fulfilling gem was for me. That was I had a wish. So now I had to decide on what I was going to wish for, right? In that moment. So I'm not going to tell you right now. I'll tell you at the end. I want you to think about it and think about what you might wish for if you were in a similar situation. And I would like to hear from people. I want to know if anybody feels like they can't meditate, and if so, why?
Yeah. So for those of you watching the live, if you want to add that in the comments, and then I will be able to read that and share that with Tanya. And while we're waiting for some of those to come in, I'm going to share with you in my practice what I hear from folks as we bring in meditation. So in my practice, my primary work is with folks with anxiety, and we work on what I call the 5 pillars of performance. And one of those pillars is mindfulness and meditation. And so this is something that often comes up with, where is this in your life? What have you, learned so far? And how is this tool? And what I hear a lot is, I'm bad at it.
Yes.
I hear I can't clear my mind.
Right.
I can't sit still. I find it very frustrating. I get started on a meditation. I've tried it. A couple of times, and it's just not for me. I think those are kind of the main ones that I most commonly hear. And I imagine, do you hear some objections in your work as well?
Well, believe it or not, I don't actually teach meditation. I encourage people to try it out if it's for them, but I give people more body awareness exercises because the body is more of a feeling. It's more about feeling and sensing, and the brain will think. And so I hear what you're saying. There is this idea that you're supposed to have your brain's supposed to suddenly be quiet, and otherwise you're not a good meditator. You're doing it badly and you're doing it poorly. And so we start to criticize and judge ourselves right away. And what people don't realize is nobody will have a quiet mind forever. Like, that is not realistic. The brain thinks. Most of it, we don't even know if it's actually thinking. Maybe it's just picking up on thoughts that are floating around and have been around forever. Like, that's a possibility. And maybe we're just picking it up and we get on this hamster wheel with them. That's entirely possible. But that's a part of meditation. Like, having thoughts and knowing you're having thoughts is a part of meditation.
Yeah, thanks for breaking down that misconception, because it's so true. There's this idea out there, and I'm not sure where it came from, that to be good at meditating, you have to have this like blank slate. And, like you said, it's more of that awareness of what your thoughts are and of what's happening.
Yeah. And the brain will think. Like, that's normal. One thing that people can do if they find that it's bugging them And the other thing is you can't tell, like maybe you're watching other people meditate and comparing. Like I feel like that happens a lot. You don't know what other people are going through when they're meditating. When they're just because they're sitting silently and still doesn't mean they're not having all kinds of thoughts. So I've been in long meditations and I've had people say, oh, but you're a good meditator. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like fantasizing about Brad Pitt for like the last 2 hours, at this in long retreats. This is what happens because you're like, well, I've been sitting here for like 2 hours. And so nobody can see that.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, you just get sick of it, right? And then you're like, okay, let's just try something else. And sometimes you have to go through that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But I do like for people to ground into their bodies as well. That helps bring down the head's very, very active. It will always be active for the most part until it's not. Right. And you might have a delightful moment where it's quiet. And I'm hoping we can do that today. We can have that kind of experience if that's a problem for people. I might address the sitting still part. So I honestly believe that every experience we have is an opportunity for insight. It's an opportunity to learn something. It's an opportunity to discover something about ourselves. And I feel like this not being able to sit still is like so valuable because it gets really intense really fast. And there's something really interesting about it. So if instead of focusing on what the brain is doing, you focused on what your body is doing with the sitting still, there's going to be, usually it's an agitation thing. Usually it's like tension, I'm building up tension and I feel like I have to disperse it by moving, by fidgeting. If you don't let it disperse, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a breakthrough of some kind. You're going to have a different experience just by being present with the body through that non-movement, despite the fact that you want to move. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's like the request is there, and where is this energy coming from, and how can you meet that in a different way? And I love that invitation.
Yes. And as far as maybe let's tackle into the time frame, like the length of time that people expect themselves to meditate.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So the first time I tried meditating, I think it was a 15 or maybe it was probably a 20-minute meditation. It was the better part of eternity for me. It was so long. I felt like I wasn't going to get through it. It was hard. It's very hard.
Yeah.
So you just have to break it down. If you want to try it, break it down into something that you can win at. Right? Like be realistic. It's okay to meditate for 30 seconds. It actually is. That's like better than not doing it at all. Maybe it's just like you take 3 deep breaths. If that's all you feel like doing, that's okay. And if that's all you do every day, that's amazing. That like, why is that not worthy of celebrating or being proud of?
It's absolutely worthy of celebrating. And we do this with meditation, and we do this with all of health habits. It's like the gold standard of what we think is best for ourselves because we've been told by someone else that this is what we should achieve. And then when we don't hit it, any day we don't hit that, it's like, oh, I didn't do it right. And I think, this comes up in my practice in nutrition, in exercise, and in meditation. It's like, what's the smallest first step you can take? And let that be a part, and then build the grayscale so that, you have an experience from taking 3 breaths a day to whatever you think you might want to meditate at, at a level, and know that there's that range there. And I think starting with the smallest dose is so much more successful and so much more accessible.
Yeah. And nobody develops these good habits by being hard on themselves or beating themselves up. That is not productive at all. So it's actually proven. develop better habits by doing something you for sure, absolutely on your worst day you can do. If you commit to doing that tiny, tiny, tiny little thing, even if it's one breath, if it's one breath mindfully, that is better than trying to do 30 minutes, because that's too much for most people, honestly.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you were sharing that you're, 20 years into your meditation journey. I'm probably 3 or 4 into mine. And like more than 15 minutes, like unless I'm really feeling it, it's not gonna happen. Like I'm gonna get grumpy.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, so not everybody is meant to be this formal type of meditator. There are so many different types of like there's moving yoga is a form of moving meditation. You might do martial arts. That's a form of moving meditation. You're just paying attention to your body. Some people, that's going to suit them better. Actually, this teacher that I'm with right now, he was telling us how he was a monk for years and years and years. And then he got a verbal message, he heard it as a sound. This is not working. He had been doing it for 10 years and he heard this is not going to work. And he's like,
no.
What? and he thought about it. He's like, what does this mean? It's not going to work. And then slowly he got the insight over the next few days. Meditating was not going to work for him. So here he'd been doing it for 10 years. It's not going to work. So he went back to North America, went back to school. He became a doctor. He got married.
Okay.
And he's a beautiful, beautiful teacher. He's just like such a beautiful person. But it's not, that formal style of meditation is not for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's so many ways to make things really you can be creative with it as long as it's wholesome. And what makes it wholesome? Interest is number one. I think interest makes things wholesome.
Tell me more.
Well, interest has this power to transform something that's unpleasant. So it was the only thing. So when you do longer retreats, inevitably there comes this phase where you just fall asleep all the time. That's the other thing. You can't tell when other people are falling asleep in meditation. You really can't tell, except you can tell when you're like, head's nodding off, right? So, and it's like really dull. It's like the mind is like kind of gone like all sleepy and soft, and it's not clear and bright and energetic. And it is so hard to penetrate that. It's so hard to break out of it by effort. Effort does not work. But the only thing I found to help penetrate that is interest. Like, what is this? What's going on here? And the interest raises the energy and it allows you to move into something else. So even interest in anger, even interest in the unwholesome, it can transform it into something interesting. And the only reason people meditate is because it's interesting. That is the only reason I meditate. The only reason I meditate is because I find it interesting. So if you don't find it interesting, it will inevitably drop off. So if this is something that you want to utilize, I would recommend finding something that's interesting, finding something that you enjoy. And that might be different for every individual person.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned the deity practices. It's very, very rich visualizations with movement because you're counting beads, with mantras. So you're also speaking. For some people, that's not their cup of tea, right? Mm-hmm. But for some people, that might be it. Some people like the bliss meditations. There's nothing wrong with that, like loving kindness meditations. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's just a whole variety of things.
Yeah, I think the more you look into this field and follow where your interest is or what you become curious about, but like the more it opens up to be like, oh my goodness, people are, from all kinds of different cultures and religions doing what we could call meditation in so many different ways. And, lots of traditions that are imaginative, lots of traditions that are movement based, and not necessarily just, sitting alone silently, trying to, be in the moment. Although that there's nothing wrong with that one either. It's just not the only way to look at it.
Yeah. Yes. And I have to be honest, in the last few years, I've kind of moved away from the more Buddhist. Now I'm open to doing whatever at this point. Because Buddhism, there's no talk about a soul. Buddha never talked about a soul. None of the teachers talk about a soul. Maybe some of them do. So it's like, oh, I felt like that was missing. So I went and found other things that would help me connect with that.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's lovely to hear about how you're like your own journey with this and how you've been adaptable. And I think, when you're saying interest, for me, the word that I think I use more often is curiosity, right?
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
like, okay, well, this isn't really me. Like, I wonder about this. Like, let's go wonder about that in this direction. And so I think for anybody watching this, it's like, rather than I should have a meditation practice, like what interests you about the idea of having a meditation practice, and then using that as a starting point or jumping off point. I don't have any questions from the group right now on how to manage or some of the barriers, but I think
Yes.
we talked about most of the common ones, at least that I know come up in my community. But
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, how has meditation, how has it been in your life? You said this is a practice that you've been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
Why has it held on? What have been like the gifts or the fruit of investing your time and your practice in this work?
Yeah, I think what keeps me coming back to it is insight. I love insight, and you get to learn about yourself in a different way, not the typical repetitive way. It does take time. It's a slow path. It's not a fast path, and I guess I was fortunate enough in that I had certain experiences early on. Nothing too crazy, not enlightenment. I'm not like an awakened being or anything like that. But I did get to things cracked open a little bit, and I think they inevitably do for anybody that meditates and sticks with it. You will experience different things, and it just shows me that the universe is huge. It's huge, and we know the tiniest little bit about it. And there's so much mystery, and so just it's unfathomable. And yeah, and I think that's what keeps me coming back. And then eventually you learn about yourself and your true nature, and I think that is the best part of meditation, is learning what really you are at the depths. When you take away some of your ideas, right? We have all these ideas about ourselves, but what are you if you don't have those ideas?
You don't even have like a response to what are you if you don't have those ideas, because I just think that's so cool. Like that's just what I think that's what we're all looking for, right? Is that like who am I? And I wasn't expecting to land here tonight, and I'm not sure why, because I think this is like the root cause of anxiety in so many people, is that there is this identity or presentation of identity that doesn't line up. And when there is that lack of resonance, how does the body feel that it's off? It can't center and be calm. And I mean, you can get into the neuroscience of meditation and the cool things that it does to the brain, and hormonally, and what the nervous system does and how it helps anxiety in that way. And that's really interesting. I love learning about that kind of thing. And like, it's also a spiritual practice. And so there's this other side of it too, where I think it has a capacity to support people, anyone, but people with anxiety on multiple different levels for their physical well-being, emotional well-being, and also spiritual well-being.
Yeah. And I guess if, I had something in mind when I joined, but I think I might change what I had in mind. And that's the supposed to. Like if there's one thing that I would want people to get out of this, there's no supposed to. There is no should. There's no supposed. You're not supposed to be anything other than what you are. And you don't have to live up to other people's expectations. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to be good. You don't have to be anything. But what you are is plenty good enough. It's actually better than most people think it is. If people actually knew who they actually were, they would be blown away by themselves. They'd be like, hey, I'm okay. I'm actually okay. I don't have to worry about this. It's such a just to take that burden off of oneself is just a gift that you can give yourself. But I know it takes a while to get there. If you believe that you're supposed to be a certain way.
Yeah. It's a lot of unlearning.
Yeah. And the thing is, we've been conditioned from very, very young to think in this way. So so really meditation is deconditioning, de-brainwashing. Or re-brainwashing. I don't know.
Getting it clean, letting go of those shoulds and refinding ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well, there's no questions.
No.
So maybe this is a meditation that anybody can try, especially the people that are like, my mind's so busy and it's like driving me crazy and I can't sit with this.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you might just gain a little bit more interest. And it's you give your brain, your mind, whatever you want to call it. I don't think the mind is the brain, but you give your mind complete permission. Just like you go crazy, think whatever you want to think, just go for it. I give you permission, think whatever you want to think, and I'm just going to see what you have to show me. That's the one meditation I think will raise interest for people if they try it. Complete permission. Anything goes. Anything.
Think it all.
Anything. Yeah.
I love that. That sounds
and
like
then if
fun.
Yeah. Sorry, what's that?
It sounds fun. It's
freeing. It's like, yeah, you just let go of what you think you're supposed to think and let your brain show you what it wants to think. And then if you find you get lost in a story, you just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to reset. I'm just going to, okay, I'm ready. Think whatever you want to think. And then you do it. I had a teacher, she died, but she used to say, the mind that has no eyes rides winds that have the mind that has no legs. I screwed it up. The mind that has no legs rides winds that have no eyes. The winds carry you and you don't know where you're going, which is inevitably what happens with most of our pattern thinking, right? It just takes us for a ride and we end up usually in the gutter, like not in the gutter in a dirty way, but like somewhere unpleasant, right? That's where our minds tend to go if we just let them travel over. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. And I would definitely say for everybody that's joining or watching the replay of this, give it a try. And if you're worried about trying it, set a timer. Just do it for a couple minutes and know you've got an out there and just see what happens and be curious or see if anything sparks your interest. I know I'm going to give it a try just because it sounds fun. And I always like trying new meditation practices. So I'm going to give this one a go.
That's great. Can I wrap up my story?
I was just going to ask, I was like, can you tell us what happened after this wonderful being joined you and asked you, like, would you like, or you were offered a wish?
Yeah, I was offered a wish. So I was like, ooh, do I want to get my money back? Do I want to fix everything? And I was like, no, the reason I was doing this is because I'm angry. So I said, what I'd really love is for this anger to be relieved. I want to get rid of the anger in my heart. And I felt this wish fulfilling gem. I felt it get placed into my heart and expand. And all of a sudden I could have gratitude because the anger was completely dissolved. And I felt the gratitude and I was happy and and I fell asleep like right away, but in a good state, right? In a good
Yes.
state. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. And I do have a download if people are interested. I don't know what the best way to share that is.
Well, let me know what it is, and then we'll make sure to put it
Okay.
in the what's the word? Box below the video.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just email that to you.
Yeah.
And then if anybody wants, it has a little bit of like some of the things the ideas that people get caught up on when they're trying to meditate, the shoulds that they think they're supposed to be doing or not doing. And then it has a few different examples that giving yourself permission is one of them, but there's a few others as well. And
Nice. So
yeah,
for some of
so
the other blocks that, if you're watching this and we maybe didn't address that block, or you try the radical permission meditation thing and don't like that, there's some other ways to think about getting past some of these meditating blocks if this is something that you're interested in. Wonderful. Well, I personally am very excited to check this out because I think, yeah, I talk, like I said earlier, I talk about meditation a lot in my practice, and so it's always nice to have new ways to look at how we can engage mindfully in and be in the world.
wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for your work. I mean, you do amazing work. So that's great. Very, very needed. Very, very needed, especially now. Well, always.
Always, and unfortunately more now,
Yeah.
which I hope won't always be the case.
Yeah.
But I so appreciate you, Tanya, for taking the time to come and be here and share your expertise and your experience and your lovely story. Um, Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie. It was like a lot of fun having this chat with you.
Good. All right.
Okay. Take care.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.